Italy has reported the highest one-day death toll from coronavirus than any other country. Officials said nearly 500 people died on Wednesday. Videos posted on social media are said to show military trucks in the city of Bergamo preparing to transport the dead to nearby cities. Mortuaries and crematoriums in Bergamo have run out of space. Medical teams from China have arrived to help authorities fight the virus. The governor of Italy's hardest-hit region made this appeal to medical students and retired healthcare workers.
I want to appeal to all of these doctors and nurses. Make yourselves available and lend us a hand in these trying times. In my opinion, through the cooperation and availability of these professional health workers, we can find important answers to the challenges we face.
Let's bring in journalist Seema Gupta, who's standing by for us in Rome. Seema, dramatic scenes there in northern Italy. The governor calling for help. Does he get the support he needs?
Well, that's what the governor of Lombardy is actually saying. I mean, he's made it very clear, look, warning that at this stage, we may reach a situation soon where they won't be able to treat the sick at all. And he's calling on the residents in Lombardy, but also all around the country to essentially stay at home. And that's the message of the Prime Minister as well. He gave an interview to a local daily here, essentially saying that the country and the measures that they're going to take, they expect them to get even stricter. A complete block is what they're suggesting. The sports minister has already said that he's looking towards the idea of stopping all outdoor activity. That means no more any walks or jogging in the park, simply because they need to stay at home in order to limit the spread of COVID-19. There is also word that the school closure will be extended beyond April 3rd. And that's because also we've seen 43,000 violations of the lockdown measure in the space of 1 week. And the authorities and officials are imploring people to listen to the rules, stay at home, practice social distancing, only leave home when it's absolutely necessary. They're very concerned. As you've said, we've seen these dramatic and immense numbers of the dead, just 475 dead with COVID-19 in the space of 24 hours. And it's because of that, I think, that the authorities believe that the next week or so is very crucial. The peak infection rate still has not been reached here in Italy.
Now, as you say, I mean, people there, also where you are further south, are faced with those incredibly dramatic images from northern Italy. Will that help to convince people to actually adhere to what the authorities tell them to do or not to do?
Well, that's what the authorities are hoping for. That's what the doctors are imploring. We see frontline medical professionals going on social media, imploring everyone, showing them, we go to work to save lives. You do your part. Stay at home. That seems to be the message that they're sending out. Here in Rome, for the most part, you do see people adhering to this. It's frustrating for people to be stuck at home. We're now into day 9 of the lockdown. Families at home with their children having to deal with work on the one hand, as well as dealing with their children's schoolwork, trying to juggle all of that and manage. It's not easy, but if everyone does their part, as everyone keeps saying, we're all in the same boat. And so if everyone does their part, this will help limit the spread, not just up north, but also for the rest of the country that is also preparing for a rise in infections. Now, you talk about the doctors. The military has been brought in to help with that, but also they fast-track the graduation of medical students.
All right, Seema Gupta there reporting for us from Rome. Thank you so much. Britain has also stepped up its response to the coronavirus. The Prime Minister announced that up to 20,000 military personnel will be put on standby. The United Kingdom is bracing for the stringent measures that will come into effect on Friday. In addition to schools, dozens of underground stations will be closed. Other public transport services will also be reduced. The government has advised people not to go to pubs and restaurants, though an official ban is not in effect. Let's cross over now to London, where DW correspondent Birgit Maas is covering developments for us. Birgit, London, of course, is a big, huge city, and it's now facing strict containment measures, which the military could help to enforce. How are Londoners coping?
Well, there is a sense of doom, I would say, across London, because I think a lot of people are expecting this to get even tighter and maybe into a complete lockdown. At least this is the speculation in the media and on social media. So we might really see Londoners being confined to their homes. And what you see at the moment is that people are trying to go and shop as much as they can. So if you go into a supermarket in the afternoon, the shelves are really, really empty because people are expecting that there will be shortages in the future. Of course, the authorities are saying it's because the demand is so much. It's not that there is no supply of essential items like toilet paper or even food. It's because people are buying too much and they should stop it. But at the moment, it doesn't seem that people are adhering to this advice because people are frankly very nervous of what's to come.
All right. Well, people not following advice, we've seen that across Europe now. And as of tomorrow, schools all over the country will be closed. Did Prime Minister Boris Johnson take this step too late, perhaps, as his critics claim?
Yes, there has been a lot of criticism towards the government. There was, for example, the editor-in-chief of The Lancet, a leading medical paper, and he has urged for weeks almost to look at what's happening in other countries, look at what's happening in Italy and just act earlier and be tougher. Now, the school closures come fairly late. They're only in effect as of tomorrow, even though some schools have already closed now voluntarily. But officially, as of tomorrow, the schools will be closed. The children of public health workers, and of other people who are necessary for the infrastructure, for example, food delivery, they will be able to go into some schools. So there will be some sort of provision. But it's coming fairly late, and a lot of people, hundreds of scientists, in fact, have urged the government over the weekend to be strict. And yes, now finally it is happening.
All right, Birgit Maas, reporting in London. Thank you. Here in Germany, Chancellor Angela Merkel has addressed the nation in an unprecedented televised speech, saying the country faces its biggest challenge since the Second World War. This, as the country's top disease control official warns that Germany could be dealing with 10 million coronavirus infections in the coming months if its citizens don't adhere to measures outlined by the government.
Berlin's most famous locations should be bustling with tourists at this time of year, but due to COVID-19, they are currently surrounded by empty streets. It's also highly unusual for a German chancellor to make a televised address, but Angela Merkel said these are extraordinary times, and she urged all citizens of Germany to seriously consider their own obligations to society.
The situation is serious. Take it seriously. Since German unification, no, since the Second World War, there has been no challenge to our nation that has demanded such a degree of common and united action.
She said Germany was in a good position, but warned that it could not be complacent.
Germany has an excellent health system, perhaps one of the best in the world. We can take some confidence from that. But our hospitals, too, would be completely overstretched if too many patients with a severe corona infection were to be admitted in a short space of time.
People in Berlin have been waiting in long queues to be tested for the COVID-19 virus. And there have been reports from other states of people having to wait in lines for long periods before they were finally tested. Across the country, Germans are having their nerves tested. New border regulations on the Polish border are causing massive traffic jams as far as the eye can see. In many places...